Well, hello, my friends. This is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And I am so excited. I am so excited because I finally get a chance to do something that I've wanted to do for a while, and that I also have been promising year after year to give you an idea or to share with you people, places, and things that I met along the way on my Crafty Life Journey. Yes, my Crafty Life Journey. And as I approach 73 by the end of the month of June, I thought, if not now, when? I've had a long life in craft, doing crafty things, making, teaching, traveling, like I said, meeting people and involved in things and going places. It was just an amazing ride. Sometimes I look back and I think, Jay, how did you do all of that? I don't know. Back in the day, we didn't have the YouTube and computers and all that, for as like what we have now. So everything, thank goodness, though I was able, and I did most of the time capture things in snapshots, in photographs. So I'm just going to kind of have to use that to help you, to kind of talk you through my journey and show you different things and people that I met along the way, and people that inspired me, helped me, cared for me, were so nice to me. Even here, even in a place like Georgia, makers just love other makers. So, I just want to get started. Like I said, I'm feeling my way. I made a little outline just to kind of help myself. Now listen, I am doing this for me. I am doing this for me. This may not be what some people may be interested in hearing. So that's fine. This is not for everyone. I wanted to do it for me because I had no idea back in the day that I would wind up on the YouTube. I need to write this date down because I'm going to be on the YouTube in 2020. And no, I was just living my life and trying to find every opportunity, trying to climb in every window, go through every door I could, because I had a dream, I had a passion for crafts of all things. So I wanted to do this so that it's on film, so that my family that I will never ever know, family 2030, 2035, people, they will know that I was here. They would know that I was here. They will be able to see me and hear my story in my own voice. They will be able to see the things that I love besides my personal life. They'll have that information, but the things that I love to do, the things that I love sharing with other people, the people that, like I said, that I met along the way that contributed to my growth. This is for me. I'm just happen to share it with you on the YouTube. And you know what? I'm sure a lot of you, just like me, have a story to tell. So I'm going to take my time. I'm going to do it in it won't be, I can't get it all in one take, episode or something like that. This is going to be strung out a little bit. As I finish one, then I'll upload that, and then I'll work on another part. So I'm breaking it down into two parts. So this will not include crocheting and knitting, because that is something I have always done since I was in high school. I taught myself to knit in the 60s and crochet in the 70s, and that's just something I've done. And then, but before that unit in my life, I developed a love. It's going to be two parts. The first part is Tole painting, T-O-L-E. Now they told me that word is French, and it means something like tin painting on tin. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with Tole painting, and then the second or another part, the finale. Oh, I'm just going to hold. I don't want to tell you about that yet, because it's going to really, you're going to be so amazed. I'm amazed every time I look at it. And I'm the one in the pictures. I'm thinking, how did she do that? Who is she? Who gave her that talent? She was just nobody. Just grew up in a little small town. Nothing particular, just a regular little everyday person. So, without further ado, I've already started rambling, so let me pull myself back in. And let's talk. Well, the first thing we want to talk about, like I said, is the Tole painting. So what I decided to do is start at the end of towards the end of the Tole painting. Then I'll go back and tell you how I got from there to here. Ta-da! Okay, so as you can see, as my Tole painting career, started to dwindle down, and Tole was back in for me was more in the 80s. Okay, it consumed me in the 80s, 90s, and on up to about 2000 or so. And then it just drastically, just like a lot of craft, or just like a lot of things, it just dropped off. All of a sudden it came to a brick wall, stopped. Nobody wanted to do that anymore. It was like an overnight. But for the years that I was involved, I was just highly favored. I was blessed. And I made a lot of money too. I wasn't rich, but I made really well. I did really well. So, at the end, ta-da, like I said, I was able to get 2 books published. Yes, me. I was able to get 2 books published just by being in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people that didn't know me no more than what they saw at that moment, and then our interaction from day to day or over the years. They encouraged me to do a book and helped me along the way. And these are the 2 books that was published. Now I'm gonna back up just a little bit just to make sure I can get the books on here. I have to go myself. All right, here's the 2 books. So this is book number 1. So let's just take a look at it first before I get into talking. Now, I'm going to kind of hold it up so there's not a glare, but I'm going to open it up so you can see it better. This is Paint Yourself a Merry Christmas by Joyce Paget. That's me. That would be me. Published by Jackie Shaw Studios. And if you're a Tole painter, or if you were in that time of life where you were painting, then you will know Jackie Shaw. They published a lot of books, a lot of her books, but then they published other people's books, and she was so nice. And I'm gonna get into all that, but she wanted to publish my book. She said, if you do a book, I will publish it for you. And I was so excited. This book, let me get the date. Let's see when. Look. Oh my gosh, who is that girl? Let's see, what's the date of this book? It's pitiful, I can't even remember. Oh, 1989. 1989. Now, I had been in the decorative painting. I've been doing that since the early 80s. So it took me almost 10 years to get to elevate myself and study under different teachers and learn, going on things to get to a place where I felt I was ready to make a book or try. Now you have to remember, this was in the 80s. Tole painting was referred to mainly as country painting. It just consumed the people here in the South. I don't know about other places. Maybe it didn't do that in other places in the United States. But in the South, we were consumed with country painting. Anything that was country or Tole painted, people would just go crazy. They would stand in line for hours to get in to see the work. They would call you day and night. So this girl got involved and decided she wanted to learn how to Tole paint. Just decided. So before I get into the story, I want you to go ahead and see some of the book first so you'll know what we're talking about. Because a lot of you not painters, you're like, oh, okay, Jay, I never heard of that. Or I know I wasn't in the country. But I just wanted you to see that be me. As far as I know, now I'm sure other people of color must have Tole painted somewhere. But in all the years that I was in Tole painting, over 20 years, I never met another person of color. Everywhere, and I have pictures. Jay don't tell you nothing unless I got proof. You're going to see everywhere I went, everybody I was with, I was always by myself, But I had a dream, and like I said, they were kind enough to help me, so I just decided to stick with it. So, here we go. Now, in this book, I'm just going to show you a few pictures. I'm not going to go through detail, because I got a lot to share. But as you can see, to make a book, first of all, you've got to have projects. You've got to have some idea of what people might like. Like I said, this was Tole painting, so it was more country, a lot of wood. They said tin paint, but we didn't paint on tin till later. It was years later before I got into painting on tin. Everything at that time in the early 80s was wood. It was all about the wood, all about the wood. So, my husband, oh, thank goodness I got a fixer-up type husband. That can be good or that can be bad. You know what I mean, those that have fixer-up type husbands. Oh, I'll fix it. Oh, no, let's just call somebody. No, I'll fix it. Okay. All right, but he was very good at cutting wood and woodworking. And then I later became good at my own woodworking myself. So these are pieces that I actually cut out. I drew the pieces. I came up with an idea. I would draw up a sample, and then I would have to paint it up. Make the sample. Now I'm going to have to learn how to hold this so I don't get the glare. All right. I'm just going to flip through a few, and then we can talk. So that's just, all right, now here's the actual piece. Once it was done, it was a reindeer, and it had a pretty message at the bottom of the reindeer that said no L. It was a Christmas piece. Then we had the checkerboard Santa, and I have all these pieces, people. I have all these pieces downstairs packed away in plastic bins. I have kept all of them. This was 87. Oh, the book came out in 89, but I had to start. I started 2 years earlier, so putting all this together. See, right here. Joyce Pageant, 1987. Everything had to be signed and dated because of copyright, They don't want you copying other people's stuff. They can't publish something. It's got to be your own designs. So here's my candy cane, my drawing of my candy cane basket. And then here is the candy cane basket as I painted it up. Now, they arranged all this when they did the photographs for the book. When I sent it to them, I just sent the basket, these pieces all wrapped up in boxes. They did all, then they put it all together. But I want you to see some of this. So I'm taking my time. Like I said, go get yourself something to drink. Put me on pause. Go get yourself something to drink. Crochet something or knit something that you don't have to worry about any mistakes. Like I said, I am doing this for me. Nobody, I don't think you can even get this book. It's been out of publish, this is like I said, the 80s. Thank goodness I bought up a few and saved some. Here is my Thanksgiving. Let's see if I gave them names too. Oh, this one is called God Bless Us Everyone. God, there's my there's my country drawing. My first drawings, I just did them in pencil or whatever. Here's my little country drawing, but you had to have something. You had to date everything. Every time you make something, you have to sign off on it. So, and then here's the painted piece. God Bless Us Everyone. A beautiful family of color, and that little boy has stole one of the drumsticks off the turkey. Oh my. Oh, there's a cute little Santa. There's a cute little Santa girl. She's on her way to mail a letter to Santa. I want to get to the ones that, where then we'll come back. Here is a cute one. This is called Have a Berry a berry, like bear. Have a berry Merry Christmas, because that's what bears would say. So here's a family of bears, Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear. And see, you had to break down, just like in my knitting and crocheting. You see how I have all those, see, that's why I'm used to making samples. That's why I don't get tired if I have to do 2-3 sweaters. I have to knit it 3 times. I have to do one part and then another one, because I had to do it here. I had to paint this thing I don't know how many times. My husband would cut them out, and I'd start painting them. You couldn't just erase the paint. And then I had to paint them in steps. Okay, I've done this much. Did the eye? Can you see that? Okay, now I had to do one of the snowmen. I had to do it in pieces, in parts. Yes, that's what I thought after I got into it, but I was too far into it. I had the people that already asked me, your word is everything, people. That's all you got. Your faith, your word and your faith. Do the right thing. So here I am. Now look at those pretty holly berries. See? There's where I started painting the basket, showing them how to feel, how it looks. All that had to be done before. I don't remember how many times I had to paint that. Here's something really cute. Now I'm going to tell you this, and it was just a sign of the times, people, and like it is now. Okay, here is Angels of Peace. This was a very pretty little project. I wanted to do some angels. Now I wasn't great at drawing, but they didn't. It wasn't a drawing. All you wanted was the shape of the piece. It's the painting that brought the piece alive. The drawing just gives you an outline. So all I had to do was just kind of do the best I can on drawing. But this was called Angels of Peace. There's my name, 1987. Now I'm going to show you the color photo right here. There they are in the color photo. I put them on a wreath. I did we were into big bows and babies. Oh my God. Remember, it's country and Victorian. I'm going to pull out other books later. Like I said, this is going to be a long thing. I just want to do it for myself. Well, like I said, but at the time, back in this time, they wouldn't publish a book, because when I first did the book, I did all of it in people of color. Not anything against them, but I didn't hear from them. I didn't hear from them once I submitted it. So they finally called me. She didn't write me. She called me. She said, we absolutely love this book. We want to, we're going to publish it and all that. She says, but we just have a problem. And I said, oh, Lord, what is it? She said, well, we don't know of people of color who would buy the book, because they are publishers. They have to sell the book. You can't publish just a few books. You have to have the people, when they run the books, once you get someone to print the book, you have to print so many thousands. You can't print a couple hundred. Maybe now you can, but back in the day, you had to they had their own people that they've been working with for years who printed their books, or Jackie's books. And she said, well, we just don't know of people of color, black people. We just, She said, so is there, there's no way it's getting around. She said, you got to change. And I had to think about it, and so I did. But that is nothing against them. That was just the way it was. And like I said, over all the years, I'm sure somewhere there were people of color who maybe did Tole painting. In other states or other cities, I don't know. But in my area in Georgia, I never met anyone else. So all these little characters that you see that are white, they were, when I first painted them, were just like this little angel. They were children of color. So that was another whammy. I had to start all over. Had to cut all the wood. My husband we had to cut all the wood out again. We had to do all of that. And then I had to come up and paint them, not as people or children of color, because, I didn't have to do it. But they couldn't print it or sell it and get their money, and then I wouldn't have made anything. because it wouldn't have gone anywhere. They just couldn't do it. You know, they have people that buy their books, and you know, they have people that stores that take their books, and went all over the nation. They have all the Michaels, all the Joannes, all the people. I could go in there and I could see my own book in there. You know, so they had to get something that they could sell. But you know what? It was a lot of work, but looking at it now, you know, I'm glad. You can see that I was versatile. This is what I'm going to say. Well, I became versatile. I became more of a versatile artist. And then now people got to see my work. Otherwise, this would have never been possible if I had my heart on my sleeves and go, no. Or, you know, what am I going to say? There's the cutout. That's the extra size of the piece. You trace around this, you put it on wood, and you cut it out. Here's a little boy on this side. Alright, so, and then, but I asked her if I could have a couple of pictures, of course, because I wanted people that could see my picture, and it would have been odd if you saw my picture right here, and not anything of color, don't you think? So she said, oh yes, that would be fine. So as you can see on my workup sheet, this is a workup sheet where I show you how I worked it up, how I started painting. I've done the eyes. Here's a little black angel. Here's black Miss Santa Claus. Does that make sense? And there she is, done up. With her little granny hat and a thing. This was done in 1986. I had started this one in 1986, that particular. And then here's the back of this book. Okay, so this one came out. So then immediately I started working on book number 2. It says, Paint Yourself a Special Memory by Joyce Paget. That would be me. By Jackie Shaw Studios. Now this one was not a Christmas one. It was more of, just year-round. But I had some really pretty projects in here. And I did do a few things of color. All right. Let's see if I got a... Wait, I thought I had a picture of myself. I don't know where that... I don't know how come a picture wasn't in this one. I thought it was. All right. But let's just run through a few of the projects. Of course, you have... Everything was Americana. Remember Americana? Everything about the flag. Things like that. From checkerboards to everything. Like I said, I have these projects still downstairs, packed away after all these years. Here's little trivets. It was all about the wood. Cows on a trivet. People would just go crazy. I don't know why. People would just go crazy. Oh my gosh, I gotta buy one. I gotta buy this. Oh, I gotta buy this for so and so. Painting on fabric. Some of you might have remember seeing some of my little quilt tops where I painted on them. I'll do that another time. It's just so much, people. All right, this is a wedding pillow. This was called Country Linen and Lace Basket. Country linen. This is a piece of linen. I made the pillow myself. I sewed it up, put the lace on there, and lace basket. Then I painted on the pillow, like took a dinner napkin, painted a rose on it to match the roses there. To match the dove. See the little dinner? I just bought those. Who knows? I hope I'm showing. I hope you can see this. It's kind of hard to hold the book and hold the camera. There's my workup sheet for it. See? Had to have that. You got to show each part of the rose. You got to let people, because we didn't have the YouTube like we have now and all of that. So you had to have a workup sheet. I would just go get mat board from Michael's or somewhere. This is painted up on mat board. Like picture framing board, what they what they make pictures, where you lay your pictures on. They would give you all the scraps. You could just go and ask for them. They would just give you scrap pieces, and they would be a lot of times big pieces. All I'd had to do was paint up. So this is called Happy Mother's Day. There's a mom and a daughter. There's a mother and a daughter on a pretty wooden plate. Now the plate I bought from one of our suppliers or somewhere, but it was a pretty wooden plate. Wooden plates were very popular. Here is rock and roll. Here's my rock and roll rocky horse. Now my husband made this. I'm sure my husband made, I believe my husband made this one. I can't remember if he made this or I bought it. But I had a rocking horse. It has a checkered blanket on it. Has a radio. Has a bear. Just chilling. Just chilling, listening to the music. Let me hold it up. Rock and roll bear. That's what it's called. That's what it says. All that I painted. All of that I painted. There's my little work. There's my little drawing. See, I didn't have to be perfect at drawing. I just need to be able to show you how I painted it. Here's my little angel of color. This is called Angelic Lullaby. I don't know where I got all these names, but her name was Bridget. I gave her a name. This is Amy. This is Bridget. This was done in 1987. That's when I guess I finished it. Here is Adam. Angelic Lullaby. Look at that. Is she cute or what? Angelic Lullaby. And I put some of that pillow stuff in here to make it look like the clouds, like they were all in the clouds. And she's singing. Maybe that could be me. If I could sing. I can't sing. The Angelic Lullaby. And these were done like in pieces. Here's the back piece. Then there's two dials that sticks out. So the front part is about maybe 4 inches out from this part, and then it's all attached to a base. Oh, this was a music box too. Oh, I didn't even remember that. See right there, there's a music box stuck behind him. You buy the music box, and my husband put a little hole there, and then you put the little thing. You know how you turn the music box? This is a music box, so I'm sure it played lullabies or baby stuff or something. So here is just some of my workup sheets, color worksheets. Look at those bubbles. Look at that kitty. Now let me show you the finished piece. This is an elephant notepad. This is an elephant notepad. These are two different pieces. This is thick, this is thin, and there's a clothespin behind it. So if you mashed on his head, it would pop up and you stick a note. You'd stick, you'd stick paper under there. You'd hang it on the wall or hang it up wherever you have, and then the clothespin, you have to glue the clothespin to the back piece, and then glue this piece to the top of the clothespin. You know how a clothespin opens, so if I mashed on his head, then it would open up and you'd stick a message. And here is my drawing. Joyce Pageant, 1989. Those are just some of the drawings. This was a lot of fun. Somebody just comes up with other projects, and then you kind of hop on the bandwagon. We had these things where you could you draw up a little head, and you put a little slot in there, a little slit, so that it fit on top of these baskets. You see the basket? It's just a basket I got from my local farmer's market. Back in the day, baskets were big, and one of the biggest baskets, or one of the hottest baskets, were mushroom baskets. If you've never been to a real farmer's market, back in the day, they had these funny little oval baskets that mushrooms came in. And at first, they would they would give them to us. And then they found out we were using them in craft shows, selling them for $10 and $12. They start charging us. But that's okay, because they didn't charge us maybe about $1. So, but there's the basket, and I made the slot so then you could stick the head down onto the edge of the basket. right there. There's a horse. You can kind of see there's a horse. Then the tail was a napkin ring. You have to saw through it. See, we had saws and everything. Oh, we had a full workshop. Oh, we had about two or three. We had 2 table saws. I had 2 band saws. We had Dremel saws, a little small saws for cutting little fine wood. We had all kind of saws. Oh no, we did had our own workshop. And you take the dinner napkin, or I took some fabric and had of stars, and then that goes on the end. You cut a little slit in the napkin ring, a wood napkin ring, and then you could put the napkin through it and stick it onto the other side of the basket. I don't know if that makes sense, but all this had to be propped. You had to, they did a great job on the props, didn't they? Look, isn't that pretty? And so I still have this. This is Santa's stocking. In fact, I think I saw it recently somewhere, packed away. This was Santa. I made the stocking myself. I used country fabric. Remember, everything was Americana, country. So, I didn't mean to take this long. I wasn't going to go through the books, but I thought, well, why not just start at the end? That way you can decide, like, oh man, Jay, I want to know more about that. Tell us about the people and places, and how did you get from walking in back in the 80s? I was sewing, and there was a fabric shop near my house. And on my way, and I was big at church doing stuff. We had all kind of groups, and in Vacation Bible School, and I did work with a lot with the kids, children, Sunday school and planning things, and we were, but most all the young women, all the people that I knew, we all sewed. And on my way home one day from church, we had been at church for something. It was like on a Saturday. And maybe we met for a meeting to plan something. But anyway, on my way home, I decided to stop at this little fabric store. This is for all the big stuff. We're talking the early 80s, people. I decided to stop in there, or late 70s maybe, early 80s, and to get me a little piece of fabric. I was going to, sew me something, a little skirt or something. Knit was in and all that. Anyway, so when I got in the fabric store, one I'd been going into for years, because we had built our house. We had our 2 boys. They were still little bitty boys, And I looked back in the back, and I saw some ladies sitting at a table. Well, first I thought they were sewing. I didn't pay too much attention. I got my little fabric and looked around, and then I kind of moseyed on back there. And lo and behold, they were sitting there, and there was a lady up there teaching, and they were painting. And I stood there for a minute, You just don't, remember I live in the South. So you just have to be careful, So I sit there and watch, and finally somebody spoke to him and said, well, oh, would you like to come and see what we're doing? I said, yeah. And I said, what is this? And they said, first time I ever heard it, they said, this is Tole painting. Tole. Tole painting. And they said, yeah, we have. And they said, well, now we have classes. It was on a Saturday. Like I said, I had left the church for the meeting or whatever. I was just getting fabric. They said, well, we're trying to start some classes. We're gonna have classes on Saturday. Would you like to come and join? I was just like, I said, oh, really? And they told me the price. It wasn't real high, maybe $10 or $12. I can't even remember. And they said, we meet every Saturday. I was in there. I'm telling you, I was there parked in the parking lot that next Saturday. Look, I gave my kids a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or whatever. My husband, I sent him off with him. Look, I said, I'll be up the street. It wasn't that far from my house. It was in a little strip shopping center, a little old one. And like I said, the rest is history. How one, just seeing something, how a seed so small planted and grew, and now I have a story to tell. So, I'm going to stop the tape here to see how much time I've used. Then I'll get into a little more detail. Like I say, this is for me. May not be for you. But I just wanted to get it out finally. I have just been putting it off. I don't know why. But now I feel a relief that somewhere my family, somewhere on down the road, on into the future, will know who I am, that I was here that I meant something, that I had dreams, that I accomplished dreams, that my life was a good life, that I thought of them, even though knew I would never see them or meet them, but that I tried to leave a foundation, leave something, not only in my personal life, but also in the crafty life that I enjoyed so much. And both of my sons have, of course, they got rewards from all of this too. They both have great, they both had great dreams and did things, and you just never know, people, what a seed you plant and somebody comes along and water it, but God will give the increase. And He gave me the increase. All right. I will be back in just a minute. All right. So now, my son came over and tried to teach me. He thought he'd put together a slideshow. But these pictures are so old and so fragile, and they're in the original photograph album, because that's what we had back in the day. I know it was the dark ages, but so I'm going to leave them on here, and I'm going to just do my own little thing. I've made my own little prop here. So, and, I'm just going to fill in. So, and I keep kind of missing the date some, so you have to understand, people, this was a long time ago. But it was more around the late 70s when I actually went into the store and saw the latest painting. I had moved it up to the 80s. It was in the late 70s. I have to remember things by what was going on. My youngest son was born the year before the centennial. The centennial is 1976, so he was born in 75. All right, so it was right around that time. He was a baby, 76, 77, something like that. 78, okay, when I saw the ladies at this little store. Well, of course, I joined the class and got involved in everything. And the first teacher that taught me Tole, her name was Mitzi McDearest. Mitzi McDearest. And she lived a good ways away, so she wasn't 8, but after a while it got, I guess, she had family, children, whatever. But we did become friends, and we started writing, so even after she stopped teaching the classes, because the store eventually, the lady who owned the store either decided to sell or she got sick, I can't remember. But the classes didn't last but, maybe a year, I don't know. But anyways, and then Mitzi couldn't come anymore, and so the class we just stopped. But I kept painting. I kept painting at home and doing things. And someone told me that another shop a few miles up the road wanted to have someone to teach painting. And they told them about me, and they suggested I go up there and talk to them. Well, I did. So I went up and talked to them. And so the next step in my progression was I started teaching for this shop, because I had been painting now, and so we're talking at least a year from the time I went in there and saw the ladies, and I started taking lessons. But that was my first teacher, Mitzi, and then after that, I just started kind of painting on my own. We were using oils at the time. Acrylic painting had not come in, and of course most decorative painters back in the day, just like anything and everything, they were die-hard oil painters. You had to paint with oils. Well, that was great, and but oils had their own problems, because you couldn't paint anything fast, you couldn't reproduce anything fast, because they didn't dry. It took days for them to dry, to cure. But eventually, acrylics came in. Little by little, acrylics started to come. Some of the diehards, they, kicked and screamed. But eventually, just about everybody, it took years for everybody to finally catch on to the bandwagon of acrylic painting. The acrylic paints allowed you to do so much more, and you can paint things, you could mass produce things, because it only took a hairdryer, and you're done. So, I had not started doing craft shows yet. This is where I got my opportunity. And so in these pictures here, I'm just going to run through some. And like I said, I got my own little setup here. All right, so here I am. Oh my gosh, who's that skinny girl? So this shop was an actual cross stitch shop. It was two ladies. Let's see if in fact I have their picture right here. Let's see. It was a cross stitch shop, and they had some kind of way. They had an idea that they wanted to. Yeah, here it is. Let me switch. Let me just switch pictures. See if I'm still on. I should have had that one. I don't know if you could. If not, I'll move it closer to the camera as I can talk. All right, so they had, here are the two owners right there. I won't call out their names because I don't know, if they won't. This is a long time ago. And they, like I said, they had cross stitch. There's a cross stitch shop right there. They had people to come in, but you can always, you're always looking to add something to get your store to grow. And so they offered me this position as a teacher. They would give me the front of the store, let me set up. Their husbands built this beautiful counter, and they got big high stools to put in. I had I was right in front of the big window, so as soon as you walked down the sidewalk, it was in a strip mall. As soon as you walked to the store, walked up, the big window, you know how they have a big window in the store, then you saw all of my paint. You saw the paintings that we were doing in the class, and you could see the people sitting in there and all of that. So this is pictures of how the setup looked. There's my name on the counter. I put some letters up on the wall, said Tole. I hung a lot of my projects up. There are people sitting there working. They're the owners. There's some of our happy customers. Oh my word. The word got around. Wasn't long before the word got around, and people were coming out of the woodworks to that little shop, that little cross-stitch shop, to sign up for the painting lessons. And then, of course, when cross-stitch people saw the shop full, that drew them more cross-stitch customers. So it was always full and always packed, and they were very good to me, and they were very kind, and we didn't have any problems. They let me handle everything, my ordering, picking out wood things. I'd sell. I could have classes anytime. I had workshops. I had my own key. Everything. We just met each other, and it was amazing when God works out things or plans things, and you just there. And you just go along with the flow. So that was so now I can go over here. So now I can switch back to this one. And so this just shows some of the projects and some of my painting that was in the shop. I had it all on the walls. And we were in acrylics. We weren't using oils any longer. Finally, like I said, people had to finally give over the oils and go into acrylics. So the next step was to, then eventually someone told, there's a huge show, and the waiting line was forever and ever, and but someone told the operator or the person over the show about me, and she came up to the shop one day, and she wanted to see my work. Someone had told her about me, so she was really interested, and before I knew it, she asked me would I be a participant of her long-running, it was one of the best-known shows there was. People came from mountains. People came from Florida, Alabama. People came from South Carolina, Tennessee to be participants in this show. They would bring, so I know the surrounding states were into folk art and Tole painting because they would come, for this show, not only to buy, but to be vendors. And I started doing that show, and I was the only person of color. She probably had about 250 vendors, and it kept growing and growing every year. But it was a very beautiful show. It was a Christmas show. It was a 4-day Christmas show. We always set up on Wednesday night, and the show started on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday was the last night. And it was just packed every day, and there's a lot to tell about the show. So maybe I won't try to go into all of that. I'm just going to try to go a little quicker here. So I just said, okay. So I was really set. I had had the shop I was working for, the two friends that started the cross-stitch shop. They gave me every opportunity. It was just growing and growing. Then I got into the show, which was really, I started really making money. I mean, it was such a well-planned, beautiful show. It was decorated to the hilt. All kind of, like I said, people would just come, well advertised. We would do so well that they kept guards just to make sure, or my husband would come every day, maybe in the afternoon, make sure he took the money that I made out, so I didn't have to worry about, not keeping my eye on my money or anything like that. And year after year, she would always give you a chance to get your same space. If you liked your space and everything, so every year at the end of the show, you could pay half of the space rental for the next year. And that way you were guaranteed. So, of course, everyone did that, especially after you got to know the people on your particular aisle or row. I was always downstairs. I always had electricity because I always had a lot of lamps and things and stuff I would bring, to decorate. I'll find pictures of that a little later. Well, yeah, I see some right now. And it was just fabulous. So, well, in fact, let me show you. I think I see a couple of pictures here of some of the setup I had. Like I said, I'm sorry I can't scan all these pictures, but I got too many pictures. And these pictures are old. You can see they're in the same paper out of the book that they were stored in, out of the album. So now I'll just bring it closer. You get the gist. I just want you to get the gist. Who's that skinny girl? Oh my gosh. Whoa. That's just some of the setup. Like I said, the pictures are so old and yellowed. But I'm going to see if I can just slide them along. Look, I'll do my own slideshow. Look, senior citizen slideshow. Because I don't know. I can't get all these pictures in there to do a slide. It's the senior citizen slideshow. Oh, look, I had angels. Look at my table full of angels. Look at my table full of Santa Claus. Oh, they had this. Oh, this was when they had, cookie jars that sat on an angle. Back in the day, that thing hit so good, and then you'd make the top to go on top of the cookie jar. You'd paint something out of a thin plywood, then you'd put a round, thicker piece of wood glued onto that would fit inside of the mouth of a cookie jar that sat on an angle. You've seen cookie jars that sat, they're not straight up, they just set. There's those mushroom baskets. See those baskets right there? Those are the mushroom baskets. You painted them, and people would pay you, I don't know how much money for a stupid basket that mushrooms were packed in. Those are angels. Those are angels that had a candle, had a little piece of, had some wood on the back, and you had a little candle, wooden candle holder, and you stick a candle in there. Sorry, I'm doing the best I can, people. This is senior citizen technology. There is all kind of wreaths. There are more angels. See, I could do white angels, black angels. I didn't do too many black. I did some, just to kind of represent. But, there wasn't any black people there to buy the black angels. Like I said, I was representing. I did my best to represent. Oh, I can't get over how skinny I was. Woo! All right, so now let me lay that down while I'm just talking. Now you're going to have to just deal with me with the glare here. Okay, so I was doing the craft shows and teaching, and things would start to go along. And let me see what other, let's see, can I find some more pictures here? And then eventually, let's see if I turn over. Nope. All right, so eventually, we just had too many people. It just started to outgrow. And the ladies, they just, we didn't part evil or nothing like that. It wasn't no big thing. It just got to be too much. Couldn't get enough people in. Couldn't get, get a lot of supplies. It's hard being a shop owner. The ladies had to have a living and everything. And, I was making pretty good. So, I paid them but so eventually I decided that either I couldn't bring people home to my house to paint. There were too many people. So I started looking for a little spot of my own. I thought, you know what? And I had painted for them. I had stayed with them for a couple of years. I'd been there. It wasn't like, I was in and out and ran off with the people. No, And like I said, we parted fine. They went on to other things. They decided to go another direction. They had family, they had kids. Things came up in their lives, and one couldn't participate. One wasn't helping in the shop as much as the other one, and they had their own problems, and that caused us to have problems when in the painting. So, I just said, well, I'll just find me something. So I looked around and I found the cutest little shop. Let's see, can I find the picture of it? Here it is. All right, so I found a cute little shop. It was, now you can see how old these pictures are. This is why I can't take them all off. All right, this is the shop, my first little shop. It was a hairdresser. A lady had a hair salon in it. It was like 2 large rooms with a bathroom, of course, and a little kitchenette, enough for you to have a refrigerator and a sink, and maybe you could make some coffee or something. But it was a little bitty house. It looked like a dollhouse. Just 2 rooms with 2 big front windows, and walk up a little stoop porch and the door. But it was so cute on the inside. It was just perfect. And I was able to lease it, to rent it out for, I could afford it, because by now people are calling day and night. People are coming. I could not keep the people, So now here's a picture of me sitting on the inside of the shop. Of course, it's old. Look at that girl. Oh, look at how long my hair was. Can you see it? Because it's kind of, I'm assuming it's black and white. I don't know what kind. It's one of those throwaway cameras. Back in the day, we had the throwaway cameras. You just take it to the drugstore and then they take the pictures. All right, so I'm going to just lay that there just for a second so I can talk. All right, so and of course, I talked to my people, and they were all on board, because I didn't want to go into, go rent something, and the people are like, oh, well, we're not going to come, and I don't know. Oh, no. They said, whatever, we will help you. We will pay you more. We'll pay you more, whatever it is, so we can have our own little place. They wanted their own little place, and like saying, the ladies were having problems. They had their own personal problems, but, it's just not something that I wanted to get into. So we did that. We started our own little shop, and I can't even remember the name of the shop. I think I just called it the Decorative Painter. But people would come. I never had a problem with filling classes. I had people on. Now I'm doing something, so I hope you can hear me. I always had people to come. I thought I had some more pictures of the shop. And then at the same time, we had, I found out about the national level of decorative painting. We had our own Society of Tole and Decorative Painting, which I will tell you later. But we had in our branch here in the Atlanta area, in North Atlanta, there was a South Atlanta charter, and there was a South Georgia, and then there was North Georgia. So the North Georgia chapter was called the Dogwood chapter. It's the flower out of Georgia, the Dogwood chapter. So I joined that, and while I'm yet teaching now, I'm beginning to, the craft show wasn't, but it was at Christmas, so I had a whole year to get ready for that, but also to learn and to get involved with people who was decorative painting. So I started meeting other people, going places, just local right now. So here's a nice write-up out of the newspaper about something we were having. Can you find me? Look real hard. Do you see me? You may not be able to find me. Okay. Look real hard. You might be able to see me. I'm in there. Okay. So as you can see, I joined the Dogwood chapter and joined the National Society of Tole and Decorative Painters. And then plus I joined our North Georgia chapter, the Dogwood chapter. And that way I was on a mailing list. I got to be in the know of workshops and things that was going on in decorative painting, and maybe where I could pick up a class or two. Because remember, I was self-taught, except for that, the lady, that first class, my first teacher. And then I had to kind of teach myself out of books after that, after those classes stopped. And when I started teaching for the cross-stitch shop, I was teaching out of books. I was teaching out of other big-name painters' books. But you could always get some hands-on, and they would always, sometimes they'd have seminars and workshops and things like that. So that's how I got to start. Oh, there she is. And there's a lot of my certificates hanging on the wall. Now this is, a few years later, but I want to go ahead and put it up here. But yeah, there I am as I started to branch out after get my own shop. Now I was making really good money, even better money. And I was always having classes. We had classes every day, just about every, except, maybe Monday through Thursday. Sometimes I'd have workshops on Saturdays. I was doing all the teaching. My husband was cutting wood. I was cutting wood. I'd be up all night getting ready for the class, the next class. Eventually, even in this little shop, I had to finally ask some of the ladies who had been with me the longest, and that was my Thursday night class, the ones that stayed with me for over 20 years. We painted every Thursday night. Every Thursday night. Nobody would leave. Nobody would give up their seat. And so eventually some of them would do little seminars or workshops for me. Maybe I'd have one, and then 1 week, and then I couldn't teach all the class and then do the seminar. And it just got to be, and they said, well, I'd like to teach a seminar, because they'd been with me so long. I trusted them, and of course, they're all I knew. I was all they knew, and it was just wonderful. Well, then here are more pictures of, now these are so old and yellow, but I'm going to try to just tell you what was going on, since you may not be able to really see them that well. Okay, so we got so large that I started having special things. And this is one that I did I gave them all a party. I rented a place, a room, a little, you know how they have rooms in restaurants for groups. I rented a room, and it was on a Saturday, and then we had a big party. I gave out certificates because people had been with me so long. I gave out awards. I had somebody engrave for my Thursday night class. Everyone got an engraved little necklace. I had a lady, somebody, local, went in the shop, and they had something I could afford, and I had her to engrave I don't know if I put their names on, or no, I just put a simple message on them, just about Tole painting. This is just some of them in this moment of time. Can you see them? And like I said, I'm sorry about the pictures. That's why it didn't make any sense to try to scan these, because they're yellow, they're old. But there we are in our banquet. I had door prizes. We played games. There's people winning stuff. All these people. Can you see me? Now look real hard. Now you might be able to, you might miss me. You might miss me. Okay, I will lay this down so I can see where I'm going next. Okay, that's the show on that side. Okay, so, well, eventually what happened is that little place, we outgrew it. And I started looking for another place. This is the truth. I started looking for another place, which I wish I hadn't have done. And, by then I had somebody to help me do my taxes, because I had to be able to show a business and all that. And he suggested not to, before I do that, here's another, let me take this. He suggests if you're making money, don't start trying to enlarge, keep making money. Well, I thought, well, maybe he didn't know. Should have listened. Because I was making clear, good money out of this little shop. But I just couldn't get all the people in. But now here's my shop. Before I go on with that story, here's the inside of that same little shop. Now there's the little shop. My husband, we got a piece of plywood. This is how crude it was, people. Look, Jay was doing the best she could. It wasn't so much about the money, it was the love. So he put a piece of plywood on top of the thing with my name. I painted my little name. I couldn't even afford a sign. We made our own little sign, but it was so country and cute. Here's a picture on the inside. He made me a little fireplace to decorate. I'm just going to move up the pictures. That's all I can do. All right, let's see. Then here's the inside of the shop. Please don't laugh. Please don't laugh. Okay, at my senior. Okay, there's a lot of the things inside of the shop. You can't really see all these. Like I said, the pictures are so old. That's why I knew I couldn't sit there and try to scan all that stuff. Just take my word. Look at that. There's some of the projects we'd work on and paint. Santa Clauses, reindeers. You know, we had lots of, I had all the supplies. I had all the paints. I had all the books, you know, not including my book, but I had all the books. And I'm going to lay that down just for a second. So then, like I said, after about 2 years in my little tiny shop, the 2 rooms, but are making good money, I get the inkling that we need to go bigger. And I'll have to find pictures. I think I do have some pictures of that shop. And it was a beautiful shop. It was in an office park. Well, you know that meant big money. But it was so pretty. Oh my gosh, it was the prettiest shop. Had 2 huge rooms. I mean, and the people, when I leased it, they were just putting the finishing touches. So they said, well, you tell us what you want and we'll kind of help you decorate. You know, they would put in different things that maybe made it easy. We had a little kitchen. I said, well, can I have a little walled off kitchenette so we can have our coffee and sink, and then I had a refrigerator. Jay went from that little place to a big place. I got a refrigerator. I had to have a coffee machine. I had a front room with windows all the way around because it was an office park. You know how office buildings are. Floor to ceiling, windows. Oh my gosh, it was so pretty. It was carpeted, beautiful. You know, kind of more of that indoor, outdoor type stuff, you know, because that's what we needed. And I did well there. I really did well because then I could expand. I started letting, like I said, people that have been with me the longest, they really started teaching for me. They could have classes on Saturday morning. Some had classes on Saturday morning for me to give me a day off. I had some that had classes on Wednesday night for me so I could have a night off and stay home every once in a while and cook my family something to eat. Or cut wood, or do something like that. So it was always very busy and a lot of people. And we stayed there for a couple of years. And then after that, the shopping, you know, anytime you have office parks, you got change of hands of people. Then they want to come in and do something different, and you can't park here and you can't do that. And after that, it was just, I just said I was just about ready to go because I felt like my dream was crushed after being there so long. And now the new people, the people who took over the office park or whatever, had changes they wanted to make and bring in stuff and move things. So we eventually just closed. But the best thing, see, even when you don't, if God has made a way for you, or if He's opened a door, and even if someone comes and shuts that door, He said, well, we'll just go this way. So I didn't know what to do. I had all this supplies, all this stuff. I mean, we had people, I can't tell you how many people it was so many people said, well, Jay, we want to paint. What can we do? We'll pay more. We'll just do anything. So when tax time come around, I told the tax, presented all my stuff, my tax stuff, because by then I had to have somebody to do my taxes for me. I couldn't do them anymore. And so I was able to take such a big loss because of the shop, because of this, the new owners or the new property people. They were trying to change over things. They wanted more high-end, they wanted to bring more big money in there. They wanted more bigger companies. And I was a small, even though I had been there a while, but I was still a small, low-hanging fruit. They just picked me off like, okay, either you stay here and we have to double your lease or and I couldn't afford that. So I had to just say, okay, well, I have to move. So I took them up and they said, well, okay, we'll pay you to move. And I took that to the person that did my taxes, accounting people. And I got such a big refund that year. He said, well, turn around and invest. Find you something. Buy something. I said, oh, I never thought of that. Buy me something. He said, well, take this and use it as a down payment and buy something. And then I thought about it. I talked to my people. By then I had people. All the ladies and all that had been with me for years. We're still talking the same people who started with me. We're already up 10 years into it or so, maybe. 9 years into it, whatever. We've been painting day and night. I've gone, from the cross-stitch shop to my own little shop. This is the second shop. Now the man told me, he says, well, take this and invest it. He says, keep the business going, invest it, but just keep it smaller. Don't go into anything like this. Buy yourself something. He says, that's what people make a mistake. You keep paying and paying to other people's pocket. Put it into your own, invest in yourself. I said, invest in myself. Well, I got busy and I started looking. And then, so that's how I came about with the shop that I finally wound up with. And it was a perfect shop, the perfect scenario, the perfect place. And we stayed there, up until, 2004, 2005 or so, whatever. Before we decided, that, people's life changed, people die, people get sick, people move, people got divorced, and the main thing is the decorative painting went out. Just as quick as it came in, it was it phenomenally went out, dried up. All right, I'm going to stop the tape here so I can get my thoughts together and see what other pictures, so I can show you what I bought. How I invested in myself and into the people who had stayed with me all those years. All right, so I couldn't find, I had some pictures. You don't think ahead like, oh, I need to save these pictures for this, for that. But I did find a few pictures, so we went about. I found a real estate person, and we went about. Of course, my husband and all my family's in on all of this. It's not just me going rogue. So we found a property, and we found it was an older couple, and they had a house, and they gave me a private sale. I didn't have to go through a bank or do that. We worked out so it was kind of where I didn't have to go through a bank and all of that. But it was with a real estate, and we had all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted and everything. And it was a 12-year loan, and I was able to pay that off, everything. But when we got the house, it was a busy street, 2-bedroom. Oh gosh, lived old house from the 40s. A couple had lived there for years and years, and so when we got it, you just wanted to run. I wasn't sure, but my husband he got all excited because, like I say, he's like a fixer-upper. Oh, how people flip houses. He just started in his mind, oh, we can do this, and we can do that, and we can do this. So I don't have a lot of pictures, but I do have a few, and I'll show you what I do have. So this is just looking at the house in the It was in bad shape, people. It was really in bad shape. I don't know what we were thinking. So here's like the back side of it. You can see we had started to work on it, tearing down everything. The inside, of course, was from the 40s, so it was terrible, terrible shape. And the people, the older couple had lived there for years, so, any house you live in it that long, it's going to be a mess on the inside. Floors, just nothing. Had to get rid of all, had to go in there and just gut everything. But he wanted to do it, and I wanted to do it, and I had a little money, a little money that was left over after we did the down payment. They gave me a good deal. Like I said, it was a 12-year loan. It was like, compared to what I was paying in the office park. You remember I left that park. Oh my gosh, it was like a drop in the bucket compared to when they wanted to go up. When they wanted to renew the lease and they wanted to bring in, bigger companies that could pay more. But anyway, so you can just see we started working. It did have hardwood floors. There was 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, a kitchen, and a living room. So we took a wall out. Right here is where we had taken a wall out so that when you walked into a nice living room, and then you walked straight back to another room, which would have been a bedroom, but we took the wall out and made it another, open room. And then back here was a bathroom, and then there's the other bedroom where I did all my classes. And then I had a big, nice kitchen. Eventually, once we, kept working on it. I hope I can find some of my real good pictures. This is to show you after we had redone some of the inside. After we had done the inside, we put in tile floors. You can see the pretty tile. We had pretty rugs. That table right there that you see right there is the same table that I have over there where my computer sits on now. I brought that. It's a rectangle drop leaf table. I brought that table home, and my computer sits on it now. But you can see, like I said, we really did a lot. It was so pretty when we got done to it for what we needed. Like I said, I don't have a lot of pictures of the inside. I don't know why I didn't think to. I probably have some. I just have to find them. I have pictures everywhere. That's just some of the little showroom, some of the inside. It's not very good pictures, but at least I'm trying to show you a little bit of it, of what we did to it. There's some of the inside. That's real dark, I know, but I'll just tilt it and try to get you to. Oh, it was so pretty. It was really, everyone that saw it. So it started out as, like I say, a fixer-upper, but this is what it turned out to be. This is the property once we. Let's see, can I get a good picture of it? Here's the property. Cute house. Just something you could let's see if I can get a better picture of this one. We planted the crepe myrtle trees. We planted that crepe myrtle tree. Now, when you look at this picture, there's a deck on the front. Well, that wasn't the front door. The front door was on the side of the house. Over here was an old rickety porch. Right here. There's my old van. That's the van that I bought when my kids got to high school, so I can carry all their instruments and all their track stuff and all the stuff they had to carry back to school. I love that van. That's another thing I was able to buy from my craft shows and from making money on my classes. But the front door was over here. There was a rickety porch and a front door. Well, my husband closed that in and made a little storage room, a really nice room on that big. It was a nice big porch, and he closed it in. We put a big window in there. In fact, we put several windows in there, and then he cut out a big opening in the house here, and we went to, how you go to those overstock places where they have He bought me, we found these 2 nice doors with glass, and then he built a deck, because we had to get permission and all that. We had all the paperwork. So he built a nice walk-up deck up to the front door. So then that became the, it looked better to have that as the front of the house, since it was commercial and we were doing classes. Eventually I hung a banner or a sign. I had a sign made that went right here across the front of this deck. And then, like I said, we planted the crepe myrtle tree. We planted that one. We eventually planted, let's see if I'm on, I don't even know if I'm on camera, yeah. We eventually planted azaleas all around the deck. I hope I can find some more of my pictures. And we planted that crepe myrtle. But you can see that we took an ugly duckling and turned it into something nice. And as the man said, I invested in myself. He said, invest in yourself. And that's what we did. We took something old and ugly and turned it into something really pretty. Now, since we haven't used the property in a long time, we have to upkeep it and all that for ordinance, otherwise you'll get fined. But it is zone commercial, and, hopefully one day we will sell it for, a nice piece of change. Cha-ching, cha-ching. But until then, we just keep holding on and just going about our lives. And there's a season for everything. That's all I can say. And the season has not come in yet. But I invested in myself. Now, I'd just like to, like I said, I think I'll stop this section. This has been the Tole. There's more to come on the Tole. I'll probably do another one. If you'd like to know more about the story, I would like to share with you the different teachers that I studied under. I have pictures. I do have good pictures of that. I have pictures and all kind of projects. Well-known teachers. Not only Jackie Shaw, but Delane Lane, Brenda Stewart. Oh my gosh, there's so many. I won't leave out something. Some of Sandra Jensen teachers. Oh my gosh, I'm going to leave out somebody. I'll think of some of the others. Oh, and above all, the First Lady of Tole and Decorative Painting of Georgia, Betty Bird. So I had a great relationship, and I'd like to share that with you, with Betty Bird. So if you think you're interested, leave me some comments below. Tell me if you'd like to know more about my story. Now, this has nothing to do with my regular tutorials and all my stuff. That just goes on. This is just something when I feel like, like I said, this was nice. It's at night. It was quiet. I decided, why don't I get started and just break it down. Just talk. Just like we're sitting and we're just talking, and I'm just telling you, I really wanted it on film for me. That's what the whole thing was, so that I will have my life story on film. Now, my life story may not be that interesting to a lot of people, but if you are interested and would like to know more, and you'd like me to share more, like I said, I have all the good pictures from where top teachers I've taken from, trips I've taken from. Oh, and I haven't even told you about, just so she'll know in case she watches it sometimes, just in case she thinks, oh, she didn't even mention me. My friend Janice. This is my friend Janice. Now, she was a part of my shop, but now she was her own teacher in her own right. She didn't really take from me. She was a decorative painting teacher. She did folk art, but her love was really for canvas painting, painting on canvas, landscapes and all kind of flowers and just stuff like that. But we did a lot of traveling together. We had a lot of things that that she was at. We just had a lot in common. Our husbands both worked for the railroad, different railroads, but railroads. Our sons went to the same school, and they were about the same age, and we didn't have any little kids, anything. We could, we could travel. We could do things, and so if you'd like to know more about my friend Janice, hey Janice, There's a shout out. I know sometimes she watches me, I think. There's a shout out. You know I had this picture. I don't know where I got this picture from. So if you'd like to know more about all the things that we got into and our travels and the people we studied under, it was a lot of fun. We just did all kind of things. Like I said, we were at the right age, and our kids were at the right, at the age that we could be free a little bit. So give me some comments below. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope, like I said, it was long. It's not meant for everyone. This has nothing to do with my regular tutorials, but I do want to see if I can continue so I can get it on film. I have a lot more. This was just still the Tole section. There's another whole life I had after the decorative painting went out. But, of course, that's on down the road. All right, this is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam, the first installment of my Crafty Life Journey. That's what it's all about, my crafty life journey, the people I knew and the places I've been, the things that we've done, the people who meant a lot, who encouraged me, who helped me to grow, who poured into me, and how it changed my life. So, until the next part of this section, the Tole, I will see you, but please leave me some comments and let me know what you think. All right, until next time, I'll work on another part and see if I have a lot more pictures, better pictures now, see. All right, talk to you later.